magkasama tayo, itutuloy ang Pasko. Wala nang regalo, ang hiling ko, sana'y laging masaya tayo. Nandito tayong dumaramay, handang tumulong at magbigay upang bumuti, sumayang ating buhay. Nandyan at abot kamay, tayo'y maging liwanag ng Pasko. Tulong-tulong tayo, tayo'y liwanag, ikaw at ako, tuloy pa rin ang Pasko. Tayo'y maging liwanag ng Pasko. Tulong-tulong tayo, tayo'y liwanag, ikaw at ako, tuloy pa rin ang Pasko.
Kapit sa pag-asa, sama-sama, pangarap ng isa't isa. Nasa ating tinig, kakaibang himig, ngiti ay naririnig. Nandito tayong dumaramay, handang tumulong at magbigay upang bumuti at sumayang ating buhay. Narito't hawak kamay, tayo'y maging liwanag ng Pasko. Tulong-tulong tayo, tayo'y liwanag, ikaw at ako, tuloy pa rin ang Pasko. Tayo'y maging liwanag ng Pasko. Tulong-tulong tayo, tayo'y liwanag, ikaw at ako, tuloy pa rin ang Pasko. Sarili alagaan, kapwa itulungan, tuwa'y magsasaluhan, ituloy ang pagdiriwang. Tulong tayo, tayo'y liwanag, ikaw at ako, tuloy pa rin ang Pasko. Tayo'y maging liwanag ng Pasko. Tulong-tulong tayo, tayo'y liwanag, ikaw at ako, tuloy pa rin ang Pasko. Tayo'y maging liwanag ng Pasko. Tulong-tulong tayo, tayo'y liwanag, ikaw at ako, tuloy pa rin ang Pasko. Maligayang Pasko.
Okay.
Hi,
Sneak
guys!
preview pa lang yan ng ating Christmas Station ID na ilo-launch natin. I'm not sure if it's tonight or tomorrow, pero you'll see the fuller version in the next few hours.
Nakaka-good vibes, diba? Hi, Mase!
Di ba?
Hi, Chiqui! Hi, Bo!
Parang-
Christmas
Hi,
na
Bo.
Christmas
Hi, Bo.
na, no?
Parang ang ganda
Kaya
ng
wala
video,
tayong
okay,
Christmas
no?
party.
Ang gandang gawing video, okay? Cool na lang, may bola.
Oo, kasi ano siya, madali siya sabayan.
Maglabas sila ng bole. Akala ko may tatalbog-talbog na gano'n eh.
Ang problema kasi bawal pa video ko ngayon eh. So, wag muna.
Actually.
But anyway, something to look forward to. Anyway, I think we should go on with our program because makapasita tayo. Okay. Ang bawat balita may iba't ibang mukha.
Iba't ibang anggulo, paano nga ba matutunto ng totoo?
Kaya ating himayin ang mga issue sa bansa dito sa 1PH. Ako si Chiqui Vergel.
Ako naman po si Maricel Halili. Dito bawal ang fake news, dito tayo sa totoo lang.
Kami po ang boses ng pinagkakaisang Pilipinas. Hindi po ako si Joey Francisco, ako po si Ed Lingao. Nakatutok po kayo ngayon sa 1PH Signal Channel 1. Live din po kami sa Facebook at YouTube channel ng 1PH. Mag-follow po, mag-subscribe, mag-comment at like at share na po mga kapatid. At mapapanood niyo po kami dito rin sa Signal Play app. Mag-register lang po ng libreng account sa www.signalplay.com. Okay.
And then baka ninervyos yung mga mga viewers namin dito na asa na si Jovi, asa na si Marga. Temporary lang po pero dalawa naman sa pinakamagaling din sa TV5 na nakikita nyo at sa Signal TV. So don't worry mga kapatid, you're in good hands.
So,
Akala ko nauna na silang mag-Christmas vacation.
Walang ganyanan. Yung dalawa ngayon, busy-busy. Kasalukuyan silang ginagawa nila yung video version.
Binuking!
Okay po. Ang headlines natin ngayong Lunes, ika-30 ng Nobyembre, ang huling araw ng Nobyembre bago ang unang araw ng Disyembre. Papalapit ng Pasko. Metro Manila dapat daw manatili pa rin sa ilalim ng General Community Quarantine hanggang matapos yung taon.
Ating balitang sports, Gilas, Pilipinas, pinataob ang Thailand sa unang laro nila sa FIBA Asia Cup Qualifiers.
At tuloy pa rin ang Pasko sa mga taga-Catanduanes matapos silang makatanggap ng relief packs mula sa Red Cross. Dami kasi nasalante.
Oo nga eh. Tapos may bago pa ngayon yung sa Cagayan. But anyway, we'll get to that later. Okay, nirekomenda ng Metro Manila Council na panatilihin ng GCQ o yung General Community Quarantine status sa rehiyon hanggang sa katapusan po ng taon. Pero imbes na 12 midnight to 4 a.m. ang curfew, balak nilang gawin hanggang alas 3 ng madaling araw na lamang ito. Ito ay para makadalo pa rin ng ilang deboto sa simbang gabi. Pero iwas po sa inuman ha. Pero para sa Octa Research Team, kailangan magdagdag ng restrictions ang local at ang national government sa mga susunod na buwan. Nakita raw kasi nila na umakyat sa 4% ang average daily new COVID-19 cases sa Metro Manila nito pong nakaraang linggo. Bukod po yan sa nakitang pagtaas ng reproduction rate ng coronavirus sa buong bansa. Sa ngayon, hindi pa natin alam kung susundin ng administrasyon ang payo ng Metro Manila Council at maging ang mga eksperto. At malalaman po natin yan sa scheduled na public address ng Pangulo mamayang gabi.
Samantala, nangako naman si Interior Secretary Ed Anyo na imbestigahan niya ang 2 kaso ng mass gatherings na naganap nitong mga nakaraang araw. Sangkot kasi dito ang 2 sa pinakamatataas na opisyal ng gobyerno. Sina Senator Manny Pacquiao na bumisita sa Batangas at mismong si Presidential Spokesman Harry Roque na tumungo naman dun sa Cebu. Hindi kasi mapigilang mainis ng ilang netizens matapos makita ang dami ng tao na dumalo sa opening ng airport sa Bantayan Island, Cebu, kung saan present si Roque. Habang di rin nakaligtas sa kritisismo ni Pacquiao or si Pacquiao nang makita sa Instagram stories ng kanyang asawa ang dami ng audience sa pagbisita sa Batangas. Depensa ni Roque, wala daw siyang control sa dami ng mga dumalo dahil sa isa lang naman daw siyang guest dito. Isa lang lamang daw siya sa mga guest dito. Pero ginit niyang sinunod naman daw nila ang minimum health protocols. Ayan. Alam ko, Ed at saka Mase ay mamaya makakausap natin si Karlo Nograles. So, so malilinawan tayo sa mga protocols.
Pero alam mo mga 2 weeks ago, naglabas na rin ng statement si Secretary Roque mentioning about the curfew hours for simbang gabi. Kasi di ba yung discretion naman talaga ng pagde-decide about the curfew, binigay na nila dun sa local government. Kasi parang nga sinasabi nila, yung local officials na yung nakakaalam what's really happening in their area. So kumbaga, may say na talaga yung mga local officials about the curfew.
I'm sure a lot of the devoted ay masaya din po sa itong shorter curfew hours na na pinopropose nga dahil syempre mas madaming mga masses yung mapupuntahan nila. Yung mga talagang pumupunta dun sa mga simbang gabi, di ba?
Pero medyo nakakatakot pa rin.
Isa naman punta ang misa kada araw eh.
Ano no?
Isa naman kailangan punta ang misa kada araw.
Hindi, pero to accommodate all the devout Catholics. Alam mo naman minsan, di ba,
Ano yung mga yan eh.
Gigilig.
Walang traffic sa gabi. Di ba? Alam mo yung maraming mga sutil eh. Pero iwas kayo sa ganun
I'm sure yung bagay.
Wala nga akong alam dun.
Wala akong sasabi.
Ano yan?
Okay, teka. Sige. Moving on. Meron pa tayong sports news na nakapatay tayo dito. Hindi ko kumbisado sa mga ganito eh. Okay, sa ating sports news, kahit kagaling lamang sa kani-kanilang do-or-die semis match, pambihirang energy ang pinakita ng Barangay Ginebra, San Miguel at ang TNP Tropang Giga sa Game 1 ng PBA Philippine Cup Best of 7 Final Series. Pero ang Gin Kings ang nanaig matapos malampasan ang score ng Tropang Giga sa overtime at tapusin ang laro sa score na 100 versus 94. Tinawag ng ilang netizens na point guard si L.A. Tenorio sa laban matapos ang hindi matatawarang performance gaya ng no-look pass kay Aljun Mariano at drop pass naman kay Japet Aguilar para sa slam dunk final. And speaking of Japet, nirang siyang best player of the game sa kanyang double-double 25 points at 16 rebounds. Sa Miyerkules gagawin ang Game 2 pagsapit ng alas 6 ng gabi. At mapapanood po yan live sa TV5, One Sports at PBA Rush sa Signal TV. Wala ko naintindihan, pero yung last line.
Eto, tuloy natin dito. Agad namang pinawi ng bagong Gilas Pilipinas team ang mga nangangamba para sa kanilang kupunan. Matapos tambakan ang Thailand sa FIBA Asia Cup qualifier sa Bahrain, bumida sa laban ng dating Ateneo guard na si Ray Ramos na kumamada ng 2 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists at 3 steals. Natapos ang laban sa score na 93-61 pabor sa Batang Gilas. Dahil dito umakyat sa 2-0 ang standing ng Pinas, habang laglag naman sa 0-3 ang Thailand. Pero di pa tayo nagtatapos dyan mga kapatid. Alas 9 ng gabi mamaya muling magtagpo ang Pilipinas at Thailand. Yun nga lang, sasabak sa hardcourt sina JD Tungkab at Calvin Oftana para palitan sina Mike Nieto at Will Navarro. Mapapanood nyo ang laban na yan live sa One Sports at One Sports Plus. Wala daw, sabi ni Ed kanina, wala siyang naintindihan. Pero actually, I don't know if I heard you right, you mentioned TNT. O pag sinabi mong TNT Tropang Giga, alam ko si Bobby Ray Parks Jr. ay nanganganib yung paglalaro niya sa Game 2 dahil na-injury po siya. Left calf strain po, mga kapatid. So, ang sinasabi niya ni Ravenna, of course, teammate niya, sabi niya ay, naku, kailangan double time tayo, kailangan work harder tayo kasi syempre one of the star players po nila, si Bobby Ray Parks Jr. Yan po ang kapatid. So good luck sa mga fans ng mga teams na maglalaro.
Well,
Pwede ka ng courtside reporter, Chiqui.
Okay. sa henerasyon kasi namin, pag sabi mong TNT, ibig sabihin nun yung mga walang visa.
Takas. Tago ng tago. Marami pa rin yan ngayon.
Yun ang TNT nung panahon namin.
Ayan.
Eto.
Oo.
Para naman po sa mga Pilipino, anumang krisis o delubyo, tuloy pa rin ang Pasko. Marami sa ating mga kababayan ang hindi pa nakakabangon mula sa pagsalanta o pananalanta ng sunod-sunod na bagyo ngayong buwan. Kabilang sa mga lugar na napuruhan ng mga bagyo ang isla ng Catanduanes. Dahil dyan, nabigay ng karagdagang relief packs ang Philippine Red Cross sa mga residente sa Barangay Cabcab sa bayan ng San Andres. Baka sa mga mukha nila yung saya dahil dito. Dahil hindi lang naman mga pagkain ang laman ng bawat pack. Kasama rin yung kitchen set, mga utensils, kaldero, plates, kuwali, pinggan, kutsara, tinidor para magamit nila sa pang-araw-araw. Yan nga ang tunay na tuloy pa rin ang Pasko ngayong taon. At sa gustong magpaabot pa rin ng tulong, hindi pa rin tumitigil ang ating tuloy pa rin ang Pasko movement. Nandito po ang mga detalye.
Ano yan? Bank details, no? Tsaka yung QR code. Yeah, mag-donate.
Yung mga gustong mag-donate, pwede magpadala dyan. Uy, pero grabe
Maraming hindi alam ng QR code, ha? Yung nakikita yung kwadrado na maraming design, QR code yun. Pag makita ko niyo yun, scan lang niyo ng cellphone, makuha niyo yung information.
Correct. Uso na yan ngayon. Book! Kasi di ba bago ka pumasok sa mga mall at mga store, puro QR code, tapos kukunan mo na lang para makapagbigay ng data.
Alam mo, sa totoo lang, napapansin ko, maraming nagpepeke lang eh. Yung kunwari, ni-scan nila, pero igagano yung telepono nila, tapos diretso na. Hindi man lang magpipilap ng kung ano-ano. And the point
Correct.
actually is, when you go like that and scan, that draws up a form, and then you input your details. And then you submit your details. Hindi yung igaganon mo lang, tapos papasok ka na. Pero maraming ganun eh. Ginaganon lang, kunwari click, tapos pasok na. Kala na kukuha na ng picture.
Tsaka mag-fill up naman mga kapatid ng details, di ba? Nakikita nyo ba yung minsan, yung mga finifill up na details? Ewan ko kung tumitingin kayo sa mga sumusulat, pero parang chicken scratch naman yung sulat. Hindi maintindihan. Paano po, wala pong hindi po mapapakinabangan sa contact tracing. Yung pangalan, yung mga numbers na parang pag ganun-ganun lang, para lang basta lang matapos. Alam mong iniisip na ito na para matapos na yung pirma kasi madami pa akong gagawin. So hindi po
feeling ko
mapapakinabangan.
kasi yung iba na mga nagpupunta sa mga public places, kaya ganun yung ginagawa nila. Nandun yung concern ng privacy, data privacy, na mamaya pag binigay nila yung yung address nila and the contact number, baka mamaya kung saan mapunta. I think nandun pa rin yung concern eh. Pero sana maintindihan din ng marami sa atin na contact tracing din kasi yun. Pero alam mo, ang isang concern ko kapag yung mga pumapasok ka sa mga public places.
Bago ko malimutan isingit ko lang concern tayo dun sa ibenta yung mga numbers natin. Pero pag bumibili tayo ng load, wala tayong pakundangan magbigay ng numbers natin.
Oo nga, totoo.
Ate, papasa lang.
Ibang point of view na eh. Nawala na yung ganung perspective.
Sorry. Go on. Sorry. You were saying.
Hindi, sinasabi ko lang kanina, yung iba pa kasing concern, yung halimbawa, di ba, pagpapasok ka sa mga public places, parang feeling ko better na rin na QR code yung ginagamit instead na yung pen and paper kasi hindi mo alam kung sino yung humawak dun sa ballpen eh. So you're not sure if it's hygienic or not. So, better, magdala ka ng sarili mong ballpen kung gusto mo mag-fill up dun.
Oo, pero karamihan puro ball pen and paper talaga. Ewan ko, I don't go out every day and I don't go out a lot. Pero nung weekend, lumabas ako ng 2 beses, ball pen at talaga. Oo, lumabas na. Kailangan lang kasi.
Nabalita hindi ka pala maalabas yan ng ilang buwan.
Oo, totoo yan. Pero lumabas ako nung weekend kasi may kailangan akong pirmahan. So business lang din. Hindi siya, not even to the mall. Kailangan lang. In and out, that's it. Pero yun nga, ball pen tsaka paper pa rin talaga. Although meron naman silang mga disinfectant, mga alcohol, pero syempre, hindi mo naman masasabing 100% malinis na yan, 100% germ-free. So, tama nga naman si Masi. Big concern talaga yon sa health. So we bring our own pens.
Yeah, but also at the same time kasi, there's also an added risk if you write it down on pen with pen and paper lang kasi you write it down with pen and paper and then you leave it there with somebody. Na baka hindi naman alagaan yung sinulat mo, so baka mamaya kung sino makakita ng details.
Correct.
Unlike yung ipapasa mo diretso dun sa mall through a QR code, at least medyo meron kang, alam mo kung saan napunta. Hindi yung sinulat mo tapos iniwan mo sa lamesa. Yung susunod sa mamaya, uy, ito pala yung number niya.
Totoo.
Makopya nga.
Nakapatong lang dun yung mga papel eh.
Nako, Mase and Ed, speaking of numbers, kasi meron tayong mga nanonood dito sa atin sa Facebook Live at paulit-ulit naming nire-remind ni Jovi tsaka ni Marga na huwag yung ilagay yung mga cellphone numbers ni John dahil baka mabiktima kayo ng scam. At eto na, titingnan natin sa Facebook Live yung mga nanonood sa atin kung merong mga pasaway na naman dito. Si Sakura Javier says good evening. Yes. Oo. Si Jam Tracy Arcega, good evening sa'yo. Good evening niya si Sakura, tsaka si Alan Mendanya dahil parating nanonood yan dito. And I'm sure sa wag po nanonood din parati.
Suki rin pala ninyo.
Oo, suki rin. Morning to night ata yung mga yan. Thank you mga kapatid. Si Alex Fuentes, good evening. Ito si Joshua Buendia, good evening din sa'yo. Pero Ed and Maricel, ito, hello po Miss Maricel, sabi ni Sakura Javier. Ayan. And meron ding nag-vote. Hi, Tito. Tito Ed ang tawag. Go ahead, Mase.
Si Tito Ed. Hindi, babatiin ko lang yung napakabait natin na na staff ni Commissioner Gia dati sa COMELEC, si Kuya Charles, nanonood daw ngayon. Nanonood pala sa atin yung mga taga-COMELEC. Good evening.
Hello! Eto, hi Tito Ed at Miss Mase. Nice to see you again both. Kung walang pandemic, padadalan ko kayo ng chicharon.
Sabi na
Wow,
eh.
naku naman yan na nga ba sinasabi ko yung chicharon talaga eh.
Sino yan?
Nakakamiss yan eh.
Si ano yan? Si Jam Arcega.
Si Jan Arcega. Oo, sa taga Tondo yan, gagalangin nata. Oo, nagpadala ng chicharon
Oo.
dati yan eh.
Umabot naman yung chicharon, na-enjoy naman namin.
Sarap. Yung chicharon ba na may laman, Mase?
Oo,
Okay
yan.
naman,
Wow.
okay naman.
Oo, kaya winner, pinaghati-hatian namin with production staff.
Ito si
Nung kasagsagan ng pandemic, di ba? Nung
Yes!
si Arcega, si Jan Arcega.
Oo.
Salamat, Jam. 40 friends. Hi, Sir Bok, Ma'am Maricel, at Miss Chiqui. Good evening. Good evening, 40 friends. And mga loyal, ano yan dito sa Signal eh. Mga nanonood. Mga kapatid, again, reminders lang po. Parati namin nire-remind dito eh. If you want to comment, kung gusto nyo, may mga tanong kayo at gusto nyo makisali sa conversation namin dito sa Totoo Lang, punta lang po kayo sa Facebook Live namin. Naka-live po kami, weeknight, 6 to 8 p.m. Hanapin nyo lang po kami sa Totoo Lang. Ayan. Diyan na lang po yung mga comments nyo. Tsaka questions.
Yung kaninang video, yung music video kanina, actually di pa ata buo yun eh. That's not the whole thing. What we really have is that music plus a lot of video clips. So yung parang sneak preview lang. But you can already find that song in the One News and One PH Facebook pages.
Yes.
YouTube.
Yes.
So if you're
Yes.
interested in listening to it again, just look it up in the Facebook pages.
Oh, ayan. Just to give them an idea no, kung sino yung mga guests natin because we usually do this para lang magkaroon ng idea sila. O ito mga kapatid, again, kanina sinabi na namin to, si Karlo Nograles ay makakausap natin. So kung may mga questions po kayo mga kapatid, 1PH Live, dun po. Si Professor John Ray Ramos, dahil nga ngayong tayo lang naman ang di ba? Tsaka yung mga naka-duty na medical workers, tayo lang yung may trabaho pag holiday.
Oo nga pala, holiday nga pala ngayon, ano?
Mga tindero-tindera, tsaka yung...
Oo nga naman. Oo nga naman.
Mga nag-drive.
Call center din.
Tsaka yung mga grab driver.
Oo. So eto, dahil holiday ngayon, ayan, pag-usapan natin yung Bonifacio Day. Maraming nako-confuse, di ba? Yung Bonifacio Day ba ay yung birth date na ba yun o yung araw na namatay siya? Birth date, tama ba ako? Ayan, si Ed, I'm sure alam niya yan. Walking encyclopedia yan eh.
Si Bonifacio was killed in 1897 May, so it has to be his birthday.
Oh, okay. Ayan, birthday. I also, I think it's his birthday. Oo. Pero mamaya, may kausap ng time professor.
May 10 siya in-execute. One of the more controversial, factoids of history, he was executed by his fellow Katipuneros on the charge of treason sa Maragon.
Right.
Along with his brother.
Yeah, si letter P.
Pio.
Pangalan. Oh, okay, there. But there's a longer version, something like that. Carpio, something. Something like that.
Diba? Ang dami daw mga misconception about Andres Bonifacio. Parang may nabanggit pa sila, even his looks, diba? Parang yung isang picture daw niya, naka-potent time, mali daw dun sa nilalabas na image na nakakamisa di Chino, tapos may hawak ng tak.
So he used to be a clerk in a foreign warehouse, so he was educated. Kasi he was able to read and write. So in that sense, si Bonifacio was not really
uneducated.
Was not really what we like to say now. What we like to call him now, the great Libyan. He was part of the middle class.
Yes. At saka naging asawa siya nung di ba? Yung anak ng gobernador. Second wife niya.
Tama ba?
Oo. So kaya siya, middle class siya eh.
Hugot na,
No. Naisip ko lang, hindi ka pangalan ng tatay ko eh. Favorite. Bonifacio din yung tatay.
Okay. Pero
so favorite hero sa ng tatay ko.
Yung yung educational attainment back in the day, siguro hindi naman yung talagang siya, tipong post-grad o talagang natapos yung culture. Siguro at least high school, no? Parang educated in that sense. High school level man lang, no? Siguro ganon.
Mukhang tumigil siya sa studies nung mamatay yung parents niya.
Pero mamaya mga kapatid, ayan, himayin natin all things Andres Bonifacio kasi may kasama tayong
History class
professor.
na tayo.
Oo. Si Ka Orly. Eden Macero.
Ayan,
kasama
si
natin.
Orly.
Oo, because we're going to be talking about itong yung NPA, yung clash. NPA clash. Tapos syempre, di ba? Ewan ko kung nanood kayo ng Miss World. Pero makakasama natin si Miss World Water. Yan. Kapatid.
Wow.
Water.
Oo, for sure.
Pero alam mo, curious ako, paano yung ginagawa ngayon na beauty pageant since bawal yung gathering? Hindi kasi ako nakapanood ng mga beauty pageant recently. Curious lang ako, paano yun? So yung mga candidates, mga contestants lang yung nandun sa venue. Hindi naman online.
Parang gano'n. Tapos parang may panel sila. And then syempre, isa-isa yung Q&A. Actually, ewan ko kung meron pang mga swimsuit. Pero I'm sure, di ba? Hindi naman mawawala yun. Yung mga gown competition. But yeah, it's just them. It's not like dati na talagang yung audience nandyan, talagang ang laki ng audience, di ba? Ito parang parang panel. At least
saka
the last
iba kasi
time.
yung feel, di ba? Kapag ka nandyan yung live audience, tapos rumarampa ka. Ewan ko kung nakaka-relate si Bo.
Oo nga parang spacing out na pero
Yung beauty pageant na yung topic namin eh.
pero Bok and Mase, alam ko magagap na tayo dahil nandyan na yung guest natin.
Kinaboy na tayo para mag-gap eh. Okay, sige po. Babalik tayo. Sige, balik tayo in a few minutes. We'll just go into a gap and then we come back, I think, with Secretary Nograles, ating first guest. Tama?
Yep.
Okay po. See you later. At nagbabalik po ang Sa Totoo Lang. At dahil nga papalapit na ng papalapit ang holiday season, hindi po maiwasang mangamba ang ilan na sa posibleng pagtaas ng kaso ng COVID-19. At kaya po para malaman kung paano naghahanda ang gobyerno para sa pagdiriwang na ito, makasama po natin sa live stream si Cabinet Secretary Karlo Nograles. Magandang gabi, Secretary Nograles.
Hi, magandang gabi sa inyo, Ed at Chiqui at Maricel. Magandang gabi
Hi, sir.
sa lahat.
Sir, long time no si...
Long time.
Sir, namimiss na
Tinaw.
Baka pwede
Dito lang naman ako.
Baka pwede kayo ibalik sa interview circuit.
Dito lang. Dito lang naman tayo. Pag zero hunger yung pag-uusapan, available naman ako to...
Talagang namili pa ng topic.
Hindi, ito tayo...
Pwede rin yung ATF issues.
Pwede naman.
Tayong share sa Zero Hunger eh. So, yun yung ating pwedeng pag-usapan.
Okay. Sige sir, pero sir, before we get to that, a lot of questions about COVID-19 syempre and all that, and the Christmas season and all that. And as well yung vaccine. I don't know if you can ask about the vaccine din eh, kasi you are cabinet secretary anyway. If you don't mind, can I ask you about that? Sir, are you there? Mukhang nagkaroon ng peace. Ayun, yun. Sir, let me start off with this, sir. Kasi nung Friday, kausap namin si Joey Concepcion. Nung private, yung Presidential Advisor on Entrepreneurship, si Sec Joey Concepcion. I understand na meron silang deal na with AstraZeneca for the private sector to buy mga 2.6 million doses ng vaccine ng AstraZeneca, which is a good thing. Kasi sabi niya, baka daw by May, nandito na yung 2.6 million doses na yon. And that's good for mga 1.3 million people kasi 2 doses per person eh. So that's a good thing. Ang problema lang sir, and I don't know if government can do anything about this. Ang problema lang kasi is it's an entirely private sector initiative. Parang ang sabi sa kanya ata ni Secretary Galvez, pinaputol ba?
Nawala yata.
Ayan.
Yan, sir.
Ayan, bumalik na si Sir.
Sir, sorry, balikan ko lang yan. I'll do it very briefly lang. Si Sec Joey Concepcion na yung Presidential Advisor on Entrepreneurship, di ba meron silang agreement with AstraZeneca to buy 2.6 million doses courtesy of the private sector. We're wondering lang, sir, wouldn't government want to also step in and buy pre-order these vaccines kasi yung 2.6 million doses na binibili ngayon is private sector led eh. Parang sayang naman kasi napaka-reasonable ng presyo tsaka napaka-reasonable ng logistics ng AstraZeneca.
Well, unang-una, nagpapasalamat kami sa private sector sa initiative na ginagawa nila. Kasi naintindihan ng private sector, syempre, yung limitations ng government with regard to our procurement laws. Mm-hmm. So dahil sa ating mga procurement laws natin, hindi po tayo pwede mag-procure kung wala pa yung produkto. No? That's the bottom line po talaga ng itong challenge na ito. At dahil nga po wala pa yung produkto, hindi pa naman lumalabas yung product at meron tayong limitasyon sa pag-procure using our present procurement laws, nag-step in po at nag-step up po ang private sector. So this initiative of the private sector will fill in the gap kasi hindi tayo pwedeng, siyempre hindi natin pwedeng lusutan yung mga patakaran ng procurement process pati makukuha at ma-audit po tayo. These are the present limitations of government procurement. Because hindi naman siguro nakikita ng ating mga mababatas, never naman nila na-foresee na magkakaroon tayo ng ganitong klaseng pandemic, pati sitwasyon. No? And because of these limitations, naintindihan naman ng private sector natin na this is just the policy environment that we're in. So, nag-step up sila and sila po yung advanced procurement, kahit wala pa yung produkto, it's a risk eh. It's also a risk in terms of the private sector that they're advancing payment for a product that's not yet out in the market, kumbaga. So you understand why government cannot make a purchase if the product is not yet out in the market.
Yes, sir.
But of course, we also understand na nag-uunahan ng lahat dito. No?
Yes, sir.
Kaya
Yes, sir.
unless we're given the go signal ng Congress or unless we have a law that will allow us to do advanced procurement without a product yet in the market, then medyo tali yung kamay natin dito.
Yes, sir. Sir, but there's no other way around it. Kasi examples na nga, of course, they have different sets of laws. Canada, for example, has already pre-ordered 127% over their population. Ibig sabihin, labis pa sa populasyon nila yung na-order nila. Japan has ordered 114% over their population. Of course, they have different sets of laws. Pero wala pa no other way around it.
Siguro, it's something that can be studied by our legislators, by both Congress and the Senate, perhaps. And meron naman tayong Government Procurement Board, GPPB. So it's also something na pwedeng pag-aralan. But unless we get a go signal from them, it's also medyo risky. You have to understand na iba't ibang mga pharmaceutical companies, there's a race for the vaccine. At dahil merong paligsahan para sa vaccine, hindi mo rin alam kung sino mauna. So, it's also a risk. What if may maunang ibang pharmaceutical, nakatali ka na dun sa isang pharmaceutical, then you'll have to wait for that pharmaceutical company to come out with its product. Diba? And right now, siguro nababasa at naririnig nyo, no, that there are certain issues that have to be cleared up dun sa isang pharma company na yun. So,
Yeah.
so yun nga, it's still risky. It's very risky. But again, because the private sector is the private sector, then they're not restricted by procurement policies and laws. So they can take a risk. And kami naman, we recognize and acknowledge the private sector for taking that risk in behalf of the Filipino people.
Pero Secretary, yun lang pong nabanggit kasi di ba 2.6 yung pinrocure by the private sector. So how will the government manage the distribution? I mean, who will decide kung kanino dapat i-distribute yung 2.6 na yun? Will it be a 50-50, like 50% government bahala, 50% decision ba ng private?
Ito po yung kailangan mga sagot na kailangan ang sumagot nito si Secretary Galvez kasi syempre siya yung ating vaccine czar. But I'll probably venture to say na of course it's something that the private sector is willing to donate to the Philippine government, ideally to be used to those most exposed. No? So itong private sector, parang tulong nila sa ating gobyerno at sa ating pamahalaan na part of their procurement will obviously go to their employees, and a large part of that will be donated to government naman po. At yung donation to the government, syempre kung kami naman ang tanungin kung sino ba yung aming ipa-prioritize, well, first of all, syempre yung mga pinaka-exposed at those who are our health frontliners kasi sila yung they're the ones, medical frontliners kasi sila yung nagsa-save ng life, diba? They're the ones who are most exposed to the COVID patients, so we have to make sure that they are inoculated para naman mas lakas ang loob nila to be able to do their job well in terms of saving the lives of the patients. So, and those siguro yung mga pinaka-exposed na other frontliners natin that are not necessarily doctors and nurses, but still pretty much exposed because they're health frontliners, and then the other frontliners as well. And perhaps nasabi yata ni Secretary Galvez, ang isa ring tinitingnan natin, yung mga may mataas na COVID na transmission. But again, it will really depend on the process na pagdadaanan ng committee or yung body na yun. Because of obviously si ang ating vaccine czar, si Secretary Galvez, behind him is a whole team, no, of experts, scientists, epidemiologists, doctors. So they will advise Secretary Galvez on how and what is the best way to go about the distribution of the vaccine. And ultimately, we're guided also by the directives of the President, kung ano rin yung sasabihin ni Pangulo sa amin at kay Secretary Galvez. We'll be guided by those instructions as well. Pagdating ng panahon at magbibigay ng instructions sa Pangulo tungkol dyan.
May iba lang mo ng konti, Sec, kasi diba may issue dito na si Secretary Roque nga nagpunta ng Bantayan Island sa Cebu, tapos nagkaroon ng gathering, and then naging issue na wala daw physical distancing na in-enforce doon. Ngayon, inamin naman niya Secretary Roque na yes, there was no physical distancing enforced, pero ang sinabi po niya ay pwede naman daw hindi sundin itong rule na ito kung nasa open air naman. So, linawin lang po natin, tama po ba ito? Just want to confirm po yung sinabi ni Secretary Roque.
I'm not in a position to really know the context really behind what happened there, yung circumstances. And siguro, I will not venture to answer na lang po kung ano yung ano dyan, no? I understand that the DILG is also asking questions dun sa LGU, no, with regard to the event. Of course, we also understand si Secretary Roque is only a guest in the event. Hindi naman siya yung organizer ng event. So he came to the event at hindi naman siya yung nag-organize at nagplano ng lahat ng yan. So we hope that we await kung ano yung magiging outcome ng DILG.
Pero as a general rule po, kunwari hindi nangyari itong event, whether you're inside or outside, physical distancing should still be enforced. Tama po ba? As a general rule.
Well, as a general rule, you have to look first at the rules ng public gatherings, no? Pag GCQ, hindi po pwede mag-public gathering. Pag MGCQ, pwede naman yung 50% of the venue capacity. And that is, the enforcement of that we really rely on the LGUs for the enforcement. And of course, yung ating law enforcement agencies, kasama ni mga police dyan. So if it's MGCQ, then it's 50%. 50% of the venue capacity.
Okay. Sorry,
Pero
Mas
sir, how will you
Edwin.
convince the public to follow the policy of the government if government officials are violating your own policy? Like, this is not the first time that the government officials like Secretary Roque or Senator Pacquiao nakita na nasa gathering. Before this, meron pa tayong General Sinas.
Tapos may dolphins.
Dolphin.
Well, again, it's really siguro it's a shared responsibility between government and the people. Kung kayo, ang taong bayan din, alam naman po nila kung ano yung mga do's and don'ts, guidelines, at sinasabi rin naman natin. So, kailangan conscious din po ang public na pag medyo nakikita naman nila na delikado na or hindi naman siya kumbaga mas risky na yung setup or yung circumstances or yung situation, might as well avoid na lang po. Because syempre, you have to understand din for law enforcement din, ang hirap mag-enforce, di ba? Kung wala ring cooperation and participation ng ating mga kababayan, you can only go so much. You can only do so much also in terms of enforcement. So siguro, again, mahirap ako magsalita kasi I really don't know the context and the circumstances behind it. Alam ko, it's still something that is being studied and investigated. So we await na lang po kung ano yung magiging outcome ng any investigation that's forthcoming or even happening right now. But siguro pakiusap rin natin sa ating mga kababayan, hindi pa ito yung time na magkaroon ng mga massive public gatherings. So if nakikita nyo na medyo alanganin, wag na lang po, iwas na lang po tayo sa mga ganyan.
Sec, makikita natin sa mga pahayag no, na magkakaroon or meron na tayong contingency plan para dito sa posibleng pag-surge ng COVID-19 cases dito sa ating bansa because of the holidays. Can you give us an idea anong magiging itsura nitong contingency plan? What you expect? At least a rough idea lang po para we can kind of picture it kung anong magiging changes.
Well, we await, no? I think tonight, number one, tonight i-announce ni Pangulo ano yung magiging community quarantine if it has not yet been announced. But supposedly today may i-announce yung community quarantine setups ng different provinces and cities all around the country between December 1 tomorrow up to December 31. No? So for the whole month of December, medyo malalaman na po natin kung ano yung community quarantine, whether we're GCQ or MGCQ, no, per province. So that's number one. Number two, yung tuloy-tuloy nating panawagan sa ating mga hospitals, whether public and private, to allocate really, i-allocate natin yung nararapat na allocation for COVID patients. So the number of hospital beds, the percentage of hospital beds per hospital, whether public and private, has to be complied with in all areas, no, of the country. Ang reminder din po natin sa ating mga barangays is make sure na yung isolation and quarantine facilities din po natin are ready, whether it's in the barangays, through the BERTs, or even sa mga LGUs natin na meron naman tayo TTMFs all around, no, especially dun sa area ninyo. Of course, yung paulit-ulit na mga reminders natin sa ating mga kababayan na kahit Pasko, at dahil nga Pasko, kailangan doble ingat po tayo. We also understand na may limitations in for family gatherings na pinalabas na recommendations ng Department of Health, no? For GCQ areas, ang recommendation ng Department of Health is let's limit it to persons from the same households kung maaari. Kung meron naman bibisita, huwag sana hihigit sa 10 ang bibisita sa bahay. But again, it depends kung ang bahay mo is can actually take in 10
Mature.
visitors. Kung maliit naman ang bahay mo, huwag ka nang magpapasok ng more ng 10 or iba. Kahit malaki ang bahay mo, ang panawagan ng DOH is 10 lang at a time. Hindi pwede. And then, ang time limit, ang nire-recommend ng DOH siguro is 15 minutes per visit, di ba? Tapos, huwag mag-buffet. Kain na lang ng sariling plato, sariling utensils, sariling baso. So, iwas lang talaga. Let's do everything na makaiwas tayo, magkasakit tayo. Doon naman sa MGCQ area, kung sa bahay or sa public gatherings, alam naman po natin that it's really 50%. But hindi naman natin kailangan sagarin yung 50% of the venue capacity for MGCQ areas. No? As little as we can and as short as we can if ever nagkakaroon ng mga public gatherings din. Ayaw natin maging KJ ngayong Pasko. And also, we need to help the economy also. No? Kasi medyo kailangan din mag-pick up ng economy. But again, it's really a healthy balance between economy and health and safety ng lahat. Everybody's anticipating na baka kung luluwag tayo ngayong Pasko, especially yung ating pagkaka-self-discipline din po natin sa ating sarili at sa ating pamilya, we run the risk also of increasing cases. No? And the worst thing that can happen is spending Christmas in the hospital. Kaya siguro ang panawagan natin, ingat na lang po lahat. When in doubt, huwag nyo na lang gawin. Kung sa tingin nyo, delikado, huwag na lang po. Let's look for creative ways na lang to celebrate Christmas. And because Christmas is the panahon ng sharing and giving, let's look at dun sa mga nangailangan ng tulong po natin, lalo na yung mga nagugutom na pamilya, tulungan po natin. Tulungan natin sila.
Bawal din caroling.
Oo, tama.
Well, it's up to the LGUs really, no? Of course, wala pa talagang lumalabas na decision from the IACF mismo. But look at the science lang po. The science is singing is really being discouraged kasi of the droplets. No? Kahit anong gawin natin when you sing, may droplets talaga yan. And then especially if you're singing in closed areas, no, hindi well ventilated, mas madali mag-spread yung mga air particles na yan. So, yung droplets sa air particles. So, many of the LGUs have actually already said na pinapagbawal nila ang caroling. And also, if it's caroling, you're moving from one house to another. Yung traditional caroling natin. So, medyo delikado din yung pag-spread ng ganyan. I know caroling is supposed to spread cheer, pero by all indications, kung you're moving from one house to the next and then you're singing at hindi natin alam kung positive ka or whatever, or negative, but if you're positive, then you might be spreading from one house to the other. So, kaya nababahala talaga mga LGUs. Baka pwede via Zoom na lang, no? Or via social media na lang.
Online na lang yun.
Online na lang yung caroling kasi para at least yun.
On YouTube.
Mahirap makatanggap ng pera habang nangangaroling.
Say Maya.
Hey, Maya!
Say Maya or online na pagbayad dyan. Let's be creatively safe na lang ngayong Pasko siguro. I think yan na lang yung panawagan sa lahat.
May parang good news para dun sa mga para dun sa mga pamilya na may mga bata below 15 years old, but I would just like to confirm with you, sinabi daw kasi ng mga Metro Manila mayors na sana payagan na yung mga under 15 to dine in sa mga restaurants. Ano po yung update dito? Meron po ba?
Sinabi ba nila?
Oo, nakita ko kanina.
Well, kung may panawagan, it's really something na pwede nating tingnan. But pwede naman natin pag-aralan sa IATF yan. Kasi it's already something na napag-uusapan namin sa loob ng IATF. What the science behind not allowing children below 15 to go out. No? Kasi hindi definitive yung science dun. Kasi yung reason behind not letting them out was baka sila yung mag-spread. No? Number one, syempre baka magkasakit, ma-expose. At also, yung pagiging spreader po. So if it's an initiative coming from the MMDA, then we can go back to the IATF at pag-aralan natin ulit, no, what is the latest literature and the science and the data with regard to children going out? Are they really super spreaders of COVID? Are they really vulnerable? Kasi kung tutusin, hindi naman sila vulnerable na sila magkakasakit. So, if they get sick, the science shows na pag bata, madaling mag-recover. No? Hindi lahat. May exceptions to the rule. Siyempre,
Right.
of course, those with comorbidities. But it's safe naman if they're using naman the right health protocols. Then maybe it's something that we can review again. Kasi yung ano naman natin dito, the context behind reviewing it really is helping rebound the economy again. No? Marami sa mga negosyo at sa trabaho and employees dependent on these mga negosyo nito ay nawawalan ng trabaho dahil nga po nakasara or hindi maganda yung operation, hindi maganda yung kita. They're forced to close down. And remember, every establishment that closes down affects 10 employees minimum, no? 5 to 10 employees minimum po yan. Kahit MSMEs yan. At ito, dahil nakasara nga ito, dahil walang customer, well, then you understand gaano karaming mga taong walang trabaho ngayon. So it's really to pick up the economy para magkaroon ulit ng mga customers, para ulit magbukas ang mga ito at muli makapag-rehire sila ng mga empleyado nila, lalo na yung mga floating ngayon at na-let go na, maaaring bumalik sa trabaho siguro. But as long as we keep the health protocols, safety protocols in place, protection na natin sila, and make sure na mga kabataan also don't expose also yung pinaka-vulnerable sa kanilang pamilya, mga lolo at lola nila. Ito lang, maybe it's something that we can review again sa IATF going into 2021 lalo na. 2021 is very important for us to start rebounding the economy again. Kasi among the Southeast Asian nations, parang isa tayo sa mga hindi pa maganda yung rebound ekonomiya natin. Kaya kailangan po talaga mag-catch up tayo.
Sir, kumusta yung price ceilings ng swab test? How's the enforcement going? Any news?
Yeah, no, we're very happy na nagkaroon na ng decision ng Department of Health dito sa price ceiling, no? At maraming natutuwa. And I'm seeing a lot of laboratories now that are complying. And obviously, we really cracked the whip here at i-impose namin ito. Kasi it has come to a point na medyo ridiculous na yung presyo, di ba? Nagkaroon tayo ng mga labs na magkano na sinisingil, 9,000, 10,000, 12,000. So may 10,000 pa nga na rin nakita dyan eh. Ito na sabihin kung sino. Pero, di ba? 10,000 kung gusto mo ng 24 hours. Di ba? Parang ang ginagawa pa nga nila, o para mabilis, you pay a premium. O parang hindi naman yata, that's not anymore just. Di ba? Parang kung may pera ka pala, pwede ka palang mauna sa queuing, sa linya. So parang that's something that really goes against everything. So I'm happy na nagkaroon na ng price ceiling. Matagal ng panawagan ito. And marami naman natutuwa. Dahil nakikita nila yung mga labs na dating mataas sumingil, buwababa naman yung singil. And anyway, if meron mga nagbabiolate nito, you can always report to 8888 or you can report to the IATF at kami na po bahala.
Okay. Sek, marami sana kaming tanong sa iyo pero
Sayang, oras, oo.
Paubos na tayo ng oras eh. But if you don't mind, we'll call you again these days.
Basta zero hunger. Next time, zero hunger naman ang pag-usapan natin.
Topic.
Ito yung aking that's why
We will get there. We will get there.
Plus na pinag-usapan din namin yan dito eh.
Kasi, siyempre, pagkatapos ng COVID, habang nandito ang COVID, kagutuman talaga ang problema natin.
True.
Walang vaccine yan, ha? At least ang COVID may vaccine. Ang gutom, walang vaccine yan.
Yes, sir. Pero sir, of course, we do understand the need to prioritize the problem of hunger. Pero at the same time, di ba, last week lumabas yung balita na 83 billion yung hindi nagamit ng DSWD na budget for 2020. So parang ang laking pera.
Kasi hindi daw nagawa ng paraan. dahil daw kabsek sa sinabi dahil sa pandemya, hindi nagawa ng paraan ng magandang sistema for distribution.
yung mga challenges for distribution. Oh, but any money naman para lang just to reassure the public, no. Pag hindi ginastos yan, it's still in the treasury.
Yes.
Hindi naman
Yeah.
it's still in the treasury. So magagamit rin natin for COVID response. Whether it's the balance of this year or in 2021, magagamit pa rin naman natin yan. Yun lang, siguro ang sayang lang is yung intended beneficiaries maybe, but eventually we'll get to them. Yun lang, it's just the cycle of the fiscal year, syempre. Sa fiscal year, you'd really want to consume everything at the end of the fiscal year. But rest assured, wala namang perang lalabas na sa treasury kung walang paggagamitan. That's really how it is. So it's not money wasted. The money is just there in treasury. Hindi lang nabigay sa nararapat na beneficiary. But we can always do the program again. No? Do the program again in the next fiscal year, which is 2021. Malapit rin naman. So aabot din yan sa beneficiaries natin.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Okay.
maraming salamat po for joining us tonight. Next time po, we'll talk about zero hunger na.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Karlo Nograles. Okay, Chiqui.
Mga kapatid. Himayin pa natin ang iba pang issue sa bansa at pagkatapos yan, showbiz, chikahan naman tayo kasama ang ating habigat sa chikahan. Siyempre, na si MJ Marfort. .05 po mga kapatid, nagbabalik po kami dito sa Totoo Lang. Siyempre kasama ko po si Ed Lingao at si Maricel Halili. Bukas baka makakasama na po natin ulit si Jovi Francisco at saka si Marga Vargas. Ed and Mase, I'd just like to correct myself. Kanina Miss World ng Miss World ata ako. Miss Earth ang ibig kong sabihin. Mali.
Miss Earth.
Ang sabi ko ba Miss Earth? Okay, kala ko Miss World. Alright.
That much I remember.
Pero mga kapatid, ito, back to business. Ipinagdiriwang ngayong araw ang 157th birth anniversary ng kilalang ama ng himagsikan na si Andres Bonifacio. Pero ano nga ba ang mga bagay na hindi alam ng mga Pilipino sa tinaguriang Supremo? Para mapag-usapan yan, makakasama natin ang history professor na si John Ray Ramos mula sa Ateneo de Manila University. Good evening, Prof.
Okay. Magandang gabi at isang makasaysayang araw sa inyo at sa ating mga taon.
Magandang gabi po.
Oo. Prof, bago po ang lahat, syempre November 30, we celebrate Andres Bonifacio's birthday nga, di ba? Founder ng Katipunan, alam ng lahat yun. Pero bakit po, Prof, in terms of popularity, parang nasa backseat siya kay Jose Rizal?
Actually, in terms of, kumbaga, laging pinagkukumpara si Rizal at si Bonifacio, it's quite unfair nga kasi both of them naman ay considered na important national heroes ng Pilipinas. Pero usually Rizal takes the prime spot because marami nang nasusulat sa kanya and talagang dinakila siya, and there is always an emphasis when it comes to our education system. And even during the American period, there is a somewhat a level of sponsorship ng mga Amerikano to really promote Rizal, which is, and ang hinighlight sa kanya ay yung kanyang more docile na mga katangian, at si Andres Bonifacio being the revolutionary has to take seat. Remember that our education system is quite yung early public education system na under pa ng mga Amerikano, it served a colonial purpose. And kumbaga, most ng historical narratives natin are medyo may konting censorship when it comes sa kung paano natin i-interpret yung ating mga bayani. But one practical reason is dahil mas maraming nasusulat tungkol kay Rizal at mas maraming talagang naging simbolo siya ng struggle natin for kalayaan dahil siya yung kinoconsider na soul of the revolution. And even Andres Bonifacio was sabihin nating inspired, and he was made as a symbol ng Katipunan. And si Andres Bonifacio being the leader, ayun, maraming controversies tungkol sa kanyang buhay and even sa kanyang kamatayan. Ayun. So, may mga ganun pa.
Kanyang kamatayan.
Oo. Mamaya na yung kamatayan.
Oo, syempre.
Doon muna tayo sa nabubuhay siya. Hindi, kumbaga, mas marami yung evidence na nung kay Jose Rizal,
mas maraming
Andres
sources.
Bonifacio, kaya siya naging national hero. Pero, Prof, ang napag-usapan nga namin tatlo kanina, yung tungkol dun sa educational background ni Andres Bonifacio. Was he really uneducated? Kailan ba siya natigil ng pag-aaral? Kasi di ba yung impression natin sa kanya, siya lagi yung may hawak ng sipak, nakikipaglaban. Pero ano ba? Ano ba yung attainment niya, kumbaga?
Isang clarification lang tungkol sa kanina. Wala tayong iisip. Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yan, wala
Yes.
tayong iisang national hero lang. Walang batas na nagsasabi na meron tayong iisang national hero lang. Ang meron lang tayo ay guidelines defining sino yung mga kino-consider natin as national heroes. So Rizal is not, we have no one national hero, but we have many national heroes na nag-contribute talaga sa ating independence as a country. And Rizal is one, Bonifacio is one, Del Pilar is one, etc. So marami sila. When it comes to sa education ni Andres Bonifacio, there is a misconception na siya ay laking mahirap, as in dirt poor, then eventually ay naging leader ng himagsikan. But actually, it's not the case na dahil nagkaroon ng basic education si Andres Bonifacio, because during the Spanish period, there is already a public education system at may mga schools around sa area ng Tondo wherein saan lumaki si Andres Bonifacio. And Bonifacio is ay considered na nakapagtapos ng what is equivalent to high school. Okay? So, ayun. So, he was able to finish the equivalent of modern day high school. And aside from that, pinagpatuloy niya yung kanyang education because he was an avid reader, or kumbaga he can be considered as a bookworm, just like Jose Rizal na mahilig magbasa and really spent his free time and even stayed late up at night just to read. Ayun. And kumbaga, he is educated because he believed that being educated would open more opportunities. Kasi si Andres Bonifacio could be considered a young professional na ang work niya is isang bodegero, and it doesn't mean na kargador sa bodega, but someone who manages the inventory of a warehouse, so could be considered as a white collar clerk, clerical yung kanyang trabaho. And aside from that ay meron siyang mga sideline kasi coming from a big family at being kuya, kailangan nila ng maraming resources to support yung kanilang malaking family. And aside from being professional bodegero, a clerk messenger, he was also a professional calligrapher. He does professional calligraphy sa mga business letters at sa mga advertising letters. And meron silang family business. Yung alam natin na gumagawa yung family nila ng mga baston at ng mga pamaypay of good quality. And yun. So marami silang pinagkakaabalahan. May entrepreneur side, merong professional side. And it shows that Andres Bonifacio is could be considered na a young professional na kahit busy siya sa kanyang mga livelihood sa kanyang work at may mga sideline pa siya, ay he took the time to really be involved with social issues and being part of organizations that sought for reform sa kanilang lipunan at that time.
So Prof, para siyang yapi, kumbaga. Sabihin natin
po?
yapi. Para siyang
Opo,
yapi.
yapi.
Kasi I understand marunong siya mag-Ingles kasi he worked for a British firm and in a German firm, trading firm.
Yes.
And
So parang
he
siya,
got-
kasi yung context niya at that time, was yung Philippines noong 1830s sa world. So pasok yung mga foreign companies and kumbaga nag-hire sila ng mga Filipinos, and especially educated or Filipino to work in other works. So and Andres Bonifacio really practiced on his Spanish. And kumbaga he thought that being educated would open more possibilities for employment. At yun nga, na-hire siya sa isang British and eventually sa isang German firm dealing with Spanish na clients. And ang hindi rin natin nare-realize ay yung mga binabasa ni Andres Bonifacio ay mga history books, non-fiction, which helped shape his ideas of the revolution. Binasa rin niya si Jose Rizal in Spanish. And yung hindi natin na-realize yung time na in-execute si Rizal, yung Mi Ultimo Adios, it was Andres Bonifacio who provided the first Tagalog translation of the Spanish mi ultimo adios. So it shows yung kanyang level of education in that manner.
Prof,
Ayan.
pero he's also known, popularly known as parang the great warrior, the supremo, the great general. But was he really, of course he was a warrior clearly, pero was he really that good commander in the field, or was he just somebody who inspired people?
Okay, as a military leader, he had a grand strategy being sabihin natin yung Supremo Presidente, tawag sa kanya in Spanish, but yung kataas-taasang Pangulo ng Katipunan at eventually ng Haring Bayang Katagalugan, yung revolutionary government ng Katipunan, he was responsible for the overall strategy and the overall leadership of the revolution. Unfortunately, dahil nga in many factors in terms of military action, meron kang fog of war, and meron talagang mismatch and handicap when it comes to training and weapons and supplies. Natalo sila Andres Bonifacio at the opening nights ng revolution in August 30, yung planadong attack on Manila. So the Katipunan had to sabihin natin to divide itself and engage in guerrilla warfare. So overall, it's quite unfair to say na walang alam or walang military strategy si Andres Bonifacio because he was the commander-in-chief of the entire revolution. And maraming naman talagang challenges na hinarap ang Katipunan at the start of the revolution. It just so happens that some organizations were able, or some parts of the Katipunan, like those in Cavite, were able to score major victories but hindi nakapag-contribute in the overall strategic na objectives, which is to capture Manila. Doon nag-fail si Bonifacio because he didn't have the resources, and even there was poor coordination at hindi yung mga forces na dapat aatake sa Manila from 3 directions, only 2 responded at hindi sumunod yung mga southern forces. So ayun, as a military leader, kailangan tignan natin siya. Andres Bonifacio has a high level of command, and yun nga, unfortunately, hindi nagtagal yung kanyang overall command na ito, and it only lasted a few months before siya mapalitan. Ayan.
Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. Kahit holiday ngayon ay talagang sinamahan nyo kami dito sa totoo lang. Ayan po, si
Prof. Napuntahan nyo, no, yung pagkamatay ni Bonifacio.
Ay, oo.
Pero kasi rin ito kasi is hindi lamang sa pagiging revolusyonaryo natin mailalagay yung kabayanihan ni Bonifacio, but rather kasama na rin dito yung mga ideals niya na ang teachings ng Katipunan was that the first commandment of the Katipunan in building a nation is rooted sa pag-ibig sa bayan at sa ating kababayan. So tinuruan rin tayo ni Bonifacio na umibig. Opo.
Wow, what a nice extra mula kay Professor John Ray Ramos. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, sir.
Ito mga kapatid, imase na.
Dire-diretso na ba tayo?
Oo.
Ayan na. Ito, nanawagan si Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana sa CPP-NPA na itigil na ang himagsikan para matigil na ang patayan. Sinabihan niya rin ang Makabayan Bloc na tigilan ang pagsuporta sa armadong grupo para tuluyang magkaisa ang Pilipinas. Ito'y matapos mamatay ang 22 anyos na anak ni Bayan Muna Representative Eufemia Culyama sa isang engkwentro sa pagitan ng NPA at militar sa Surigao del Sur. Para mas mapag-usapan yan, makakasama po natin sa live stream ang ating hebigat sa Usaping Panlipunan, Orly Mercado. Orly!
Good evening, Marcel.
Good evening, Orly!
Good evening ka, Orly.
Hindi ako sanay na gabi ka nakikita. Lagi tayo umaga Di ba?
Ikaw naman, work from home naman eh.
Oo nga, work from home naman. Hindi, ito ka, Orly, kasi yaman na pag-usapan po natin yung sa NPA, ano. Bilang dating defense secretary, paano po ba talaga yung gawi, kultura ng mga sundalo every time na nagkakaroon sila na ganito? For example, dito sa kaso ni Kulyamat, kino-consider ba talaga ito as war trophy? Totoo ba na talagang ginagawa ng mga sundalo yung pagpaparada daw ng mga war trophy? Nangyayari ba talaga yun?
So, wala, meron tayong mga batas at meron din tayong mga arrangements o mga sinusunod na international norms kahit na gera. At ang mga bagay nito ay pinag-uusapan at nag-agree. In fact, we have an agreement. Bagamat wala tayong peace, hindi natapos, naudlot yung negosasyon ng gobyerno at saka ng CPP-NPA. Meron namang mga aprobadong mga agreement on wartime. Ibig sabihin, yung mga practices na sa humanitarian law. Yung humanitarian law ay agreements yan na nauukol sa makataong tunggalian na ginagamit ang dahas. Pero napaka-importante rin natin isipin na ang labanan ay hindi labang sa pamamagitan ng gera ng dahas. Kung hindi, it is also a propaganda war. Because it is a battle for the hearts and the minds of the people. Ganun ang revolusyon eh. Kaya banatan ng banatan yan. Yung basta nagkamali yung isa, gagamitin rin naman propaganda is used to show where there have been excesses or non-compliance in terms of laws or international norms. Ganun din naman pag sa kabila. So, it is not surprising na nakakarinig tayo ng mga statements that are aimed at getting the hearts and the minds of the people and also pointing out what could be, sinasabi naman sa kabila, and then legitimate opposition lang naman, kritisismo lang namin ito eh. Kaya habang wala tayong negotiated settlement, at naudlod nga yung peace talks natin with the CPP-NPA, ito ang nangyayari. Unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. Sapagkat nakikita ko man na, ako may kamag-anak pa ako by marriage na recently napatay din sa isang enkwentro. And it is a painful thing when you hear about these things. But this is part of war and part of the use of violence. Sa ngayon meron pa mga kritisismo about the NPA utilizing what they call this weapons that have not that are being banned internationally. Ito yung landmines. Pagpalagay natin yung command detonated, yung sabi ng detonated, pati yung United Nations yung critical na si Michelle Bachelet, yung human rights chief ng UN, is pointing out na ginagawa ito at ang calling the attention of the CPP-NPA, not of the government. Sabagat ang gobyerno, wala nang landmines eh. Naalala ko nung secretary ako, this is one of the things that we made sure in 1998 onwards na wala tayong stockpile ng landmines. Kasi ang landmines, pag tinanim mo yan, kahit na sabihin mong detonated yan pag nandun ang kalaban, some of them are not utilized. And yung mga bata naglalaro, later on, yung mga magsasaka, katulad na nangyari sa Cambodia, and ngayon na nangyari sa iba't ibang mga it's still a big problem. So actually, this thing has been a very complex war, but it is also, as I said, a propaganda war.
Orly, of course, in the last few months, actually, hindi lang last few months, pero, for quite some time already, malaking debate yung how government should be dealing with what what we would call the legal left, yung makabayan bloc, among other things. Especially in the last few weeks, nag-escalate na po yung bakbakan ng dalawa between the AFP, the government, and what we call the legal left. Ano pong pananaw niyo doon? Should the legal left be held accountable for what the New People's Army does? Or is it an entirely different thing altogether that it is in the legal front? It is in the legal sphere and should be allowed to continue.
Kaya ng batas natin, meron na kalayaan magsalita. At importante din yung role na tinatawag na legitimate opposition. Ang importante, you do not ask or make the people rise and use arms and utilize an armed struggle to bring down the government. Pero meron sinasabi naman ng gobyerno to defend itself na merong mga taong gumagamit ng yung tinatawag na legitimate opposition sa laban sa gobyerno. Pero ang ginagawa, you erode the faith of people in duly constituted authority. Ito yung subversion. Nababanggit ko na rin sa inyo madalas. Diyan ako nademanda.
RA 1700.
Yeah, Republic Act 1700. And yan, batas na yan, inalis na yan. Inalis na yan. We repealed it. Senador pa ako nung nirepeal yan. But it's very important to may karapatan to exist as a left, communist, organization or left-leaning organization and criticize the government. Kalayaan yan eh. As long as it remains in the realm of discussion and you do not use arms. Ngayon, meron naman mga nagsasabi. Sinasabi naman ng gobyerno, hindi, front yan eh. Front organization yan. Pero ang totoo niyan, yan ay talagang nagre-recruit yan. Kaya ang kaliwa naman, hindi kami nagre-recruit, etc. Pero meron mga nagsasabi sa military na this is all part of the same family or the same when you destroy faith in duly constituted authority, you prepare for the rise of the people, the masses, against the government and utilizing arms, bring it down. Siguro napaka-important. We're in the
nawala yung audio.
Ako. Sir, nawala po audio.
Nawala yung audio ni Ka Orly.
Nagalaw yung kable.
Hindi natin naririnig. Ayun.
Natanggal ata yung kable niya. Sir, can you hear us? Actually, interesting si Ka Orly kwentuhan sa ganyan dahil alam mo si Ka Orly, nung kabataan yan, kabataang makabayan.
Ayun naman pala.
Ayan
na.
Nakulong na ako.
Sir, actually, I wanted to ask you about that eh. Sir, kasi if you don't mind, sir, kasi I do remember po, nung kabataan nyo, siyempre, long ago yun, kabataan makabayan ata ho kayo nung
yes, I was in the Central Committee of the Kabataan Makabayan, and I was in the UP Student Council. We were known as the kami dalawa ni Sixto Carlos, we were known as the leftist talaga. And I admit at my age, I was in my early 20s, I was a socialist in thinking. Pero I did not take up arms. Ibig sabihin, yun ang pagkakaiba ron eh. Kung ikaw ay sumama na sa then you're liable under the law. Pero yun ang sinasabi nga nung araw, just by being leftist, Pero could you imagine, that was the time. Kaya sabi ko, the best way to fight an idea is with a better idea. And I changed my position as regards a centrally planned economy and socialism. And later on, I became a senator and even became Secretary of Defense.
Defense Secretary. Actually, sir, was it difficult for you to be? Was it difficult for you and the army to be together nung kayo nag-SecDef, Secretary of Defense, knowing na kayo dating KM?
Walang dahil kami pagdating doon sa we fought, we dalawang bagay yan ginagamit mo yung iron hand at saka yung poison hand. Yung bang pag binanatan kayo, you'll have to use force to meet force. And we cannot be kind and gentle. Kahit si Mao, sinasabi, you cannot be strained and magnanimous in a revolution. But open din ang posisyon namin para doon sa mga gusto magbago ng landas at to come in. So it requires being able to, I think it helped me that I understood better to a certain extent what motivates the CPP NPA. And I could understand what they are, and I respected it.
Ka-Orly, ito, in light of your being defense secretary dati, no? So, I just wanted your opinion kasi around 2 months ago, actually, itong tinatawag nilang CNTs or Communist NPA terrorists ay nagsagawa daw po ng tactical offensives in different areas. Ngayon, yung isang lieutenant, if I'm not mistaken, Lieutenant Colonel Baybayan, sinabi po niya na ito ay isang senyales na natatalo na yung NPA ng NTF-ELCA. So ano po yung pananaw niyo po dito? Desperado na daw po. Ito yung senyales daw na desperado na yung NPA na natatalo na po sila.
Well, tactically may mga very important victories and I think we should salute our soldiers for what they are doing. There is only one armed forces of the Philippines. We cannot allow another armed force, whatever the ideology. So the point here is that we have to make is that there is also no military victory here. Kung talagang kayang talunin militarily yan, matagal na dapat tapos na yan. Bakit hindi mawala balik ng balik at mayroon pa rin na-recruit? Dahil hindi pa natin na-address ang pinag-uugatan. Ngayon, if we give them a chance, if we have peace talks and we have the ability to be able to bring them back and lay their arms and acknowledge that we can end this by negotiations, then we can follow the path of other governments that have been able to do this, whether it's in Nicaragua. Tayo na lang, hindi na-resolve ito. Kahit sa Colombia, kahit sa Nicaragua, El Salvador, kahit na rin sa mga kapitbahay, nagkaroon na rin ng negosasyon with the communists. And I think we still have time to reopen negotiations and make sure that we'll be able to lay down the arms. I know that yung mga nagsasabi, matatalo na yan, konti na lang, etc. We've been saying this since the 1940s, after the war. Since 1969, when it was reestablished, the New People's Army, from the Hukbalahap that preceded it, came about, but we still are in this mess. In other words, once and for all, if we can only negotiate, I think we'll be able to solve this problem as long as we know there is no military solution to this problem. It has to be social, economic, and must take into consideration many other things other than shooting.
Orly, the armed forces confirmed na nag-submit daw sila ng list ng mga pangalan ng mga na-recruit ng NPA, ng mga minors, ng mga minor de edad, sinabit nila sa United Nations. I mean, what does it say about the approach of the AFP dun sa pagsusumite? Are we even obliged to submit the names? How will this affect yung strategy natin?
Well, Alan, paggamit ba ng mga minors ito? Yung sinasabi natin?
Listahan daw po ito nung pangalan ng mga minor de edad na na-recruit ng New People's Army.
Well, actually, this is one of the things that we have to be firm about. No, we cannot allow. In any country for that matter, and the United Nations has already made many pronouncements on these matters. Hindi naman pwedeng gamitin ng mga bata na yan nasa anumang revolusyon. Although, the evidence has to be submitted. Then, if the armed forces, I have trust and confidence in the integrity of what they are submitting, because these are men and women who are on the ground and who know what is happening there. And I would like to believe that whatever they have submitted has been vetted and have been brought through confirmations and are based on empirical evidence.
Sir, under the anti-terror law that was signed last June, yung Anti-Terror Council will have the authority to designate groups as terrorist groups. Hindi pa prescribed, designate pala. Pero it seems to be getting more likely na pati yung mga nasa legal left na grupo i-designate. If you follow the progression of the escalation of yung banatan ng dalawang grupo, yung gobyerno at yung legal left, mukhang doon na patungo. If that happens, what do you think will be the implication? Pag ma-designate, for example, yung Bayad Muna, yung Makabayan Black, Umbrella, and all that na terrorist organization?
Alam mo, pag binigyan mo ng, pag inayawan mo na sila ng space, ang mangyayari mag-underground yan eh. Kaya ako naniniwala ako na napaka-importante na nasa above ground sila. Ibig sabihin, they'll be able to defend their ideas. They should be allowed to run for public office and also participate in Congress as they are doing now. It is in the interest of the government to have a legitimate opposition. And even if they believe in something we do not believe in, an ideology which we do not agree, it is very important that, sinasabi ni French philosopher Voltaire, na I may not agree with what you say, but I will defend your right to death to say it. That's the essence of a democracy. Pero pag ikaw meron ka ng binibigyan mo ka ng tawag, ang sagot mo lang sabihin nila, hindi, komunista ka sosyalista ka hindi ka naman, you will tag them and paint, it doesn't contribute to enlightenment. Yun ang pinakamabigat ng pangyayari niyan.
So you think that will only aggravate things and make it will be counterproductive kung mangyari yun?
Give them the space. The best way to fight an idea is a better idea. It's always that way. Pero at saka the other thing is you cannot fight somebody, you cannot debate somebody who's holding a gun. Yan ang talagang totoo niyan eh. The profession of arms is very important. But nakita niyo naman, sa saligang batas natin, yung supremacy ng civilian authority over the military. Hindi dahil sa hindi sila magaling. Hindi dahil sa hindi nila kaya yung magdebate o kaya arukin yung kalaliman ng mga pinagdebatehan na public policy. It's not that. It's the fact that you hold the gun. And so, when you hold the gun, you do not decide when to use it. That's the reason why meron superiority ang civilian authority.
Okay. Maraming salamat po, Ka Orly.
Sayang gusto ko pang i-discuss sana yung zero hunger. Yung...
Ka Orly, ha?
Thank you, Orly.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mga kapatid, ito.
May hirit pa si Ka Orly.
May hirit pa nga eh.
Nakahirit eh.
Eto naman, showbiz chikahan naman tayo. Mga kapatid, sa punta naman ito, makakasama natin ang newly crowned na Miss Earth Water 2020 na si Roxanne Bayans. At syempre, makakasama din natin ang ating heavy guts sa chikahan na si MJ Mercury. Magandang gabi sa inyo.
Hello! Hi, Roxy!
Hola!
Hi, Bok! Hi, Ate Maricel and Chiqui. Grabe nung in-intro mo si Roxy, akala ko yung tinatawag mo. Naka-ready na ako. Nag-ready na ako. I was like, pero syempre, of course, Roxy, congratulations sa napaka-successful na Miss Earth. And, of course, sa crown na napanalunan mo. I mean, how's everything? What will you be doing first and foremost upon winning a title?
Mabuhay, isang makakalikasang gabi. Thank you so much for having me. Well, I have to be honest, it hasn't fully sunk in yet. Just like when I won Miss Philippines Earth and now it's Miss Earth. So I'm just so excited for what's next and having this beautiful reign with all these amazing and intellectual women who actually want to advocate for Mother Earth, and that's what we need right now. So I'm just so excited for the entire journey. And it's going to be a long year, a long, fulfilling year.
Napag-usapan niyo na ba yung agenda ninyo if with this, our new Miss Earth will be based here in the Philippines? Will you still be based in Baguio, or are you gonna go around?
Well, it depends. As for the other reigning queens, I really hope they would be able to come here to the Philippines. But of course, with all the restrictions, it's going to be quite hard. I am here in Baguio right now, but whenever they tell me to go back, I am willing to go since I also have a place in Metro Manila. So if they need me, I'm going to be there right away. And I would love to travel around so I could be able to reach out more to people, mostly now that I am Miss Earth Water.
But how are you gonna do that right now that you're in Baguio? Kumbaga, paano mo ma-execute ang iyong mga advocacy kahit na stuck ka dyan? Momentarily.
Well, prior to winning, I already partnered with the Department of Agriculture. So I'm working with this plant program. Ahon lahat, pagkaing sapat laban sa COVID-19. So I've been working so much advocating about this through online platforms. And I've also given the chance to give away free seedlings, free seeds for other people to be able to start urban gardening at home, since we know that a lot of Filipinos are not able to eat 3 meals a day. So I want to expand that worldwide and encourage others to go back to the basics, embrace living a minimal life, and plant and harvest their own food at home. So it also deals with food security as well as regreening, because that's a good step towards sustainability.
Alam mo, maganda yan, ano? Uso nga ngayon yung mga farm to table at malay mo magawa. Yung ibang mga celebrity nga ginagawa na yun sa comfort ng kanilang mga tahanan. Pero eto na, no, nakita ko napakapasabog kahit digital ito. Grabe yung presence mo sa social media with all the photo shoots and everything else preparing to Miss Earth coronation just last Saturday. But can you tell us like what goes behind the scenes para sa brainstorming ng mga look mo? And syempre, no, ano to, ilan kayo sa team mo? Professional photographers ba itong mga kasama mo? Sa kayo nag-shoot? Sa bahay mo ba?
Well, it's super overwhelming. I'm so grateful to everybody who did appreciate all the outfits, all the concepts, which is very Filipino. And we did a lot of brainstorming. I have an amazing team who helps me with everything. So during Miss Philippines Earth, it was mostly me, since I was locked down in Manila and my team was here in Baguio. So now that we were competing for the second time for the international pageant, gusto namin bonggahan. We wanted to gusto namin bumawi kasi at that time when I was competing in Miss Philippines Earth, it wasn't much. I just had a white background at home and it was just me. So I'm very grateful now competing for the second time that I have all these resources and all these amazing people sharing their talents and grabbing concepts. I'm having the goosebumps just thinking about them. So
actually, it's killing us. It's so beautiful. Ang ganda. Highlands effect, ha? Ano to? Mega green screen ba to na 360?
yeah, sorry.
Kumbaga, ano ba to? Saan ka nag-shoot? Sa bahay mo ba? Like, was this stage at a 360 na green screen? And, I mean, can you take us where the kumbaga, candidates go to right now to execute such great presence when it comes to competing right now in the new normal?
Well, of course, with all the restrictions, it's quite limited. We couldn't travel that much, but I was given the privilege to be able to travel. Mostly we shot the areas in La Union for the swimwear, syempre para may beach, para may pool. And the national costume, it was in Mountain Province. And my grandparents, kasi they're actually farmers. That goes back to my advocacy, why I chose it. And yung background ko doon, that's where they used to plant and harvest yung mga fruits and vegetables. So I really wanted, sobrang pride ko yun na to showcase Mountain Province. And of course, Baguio City and Pangasinan. So I was able to travel there. Yes, so yun lang. I travel more, pero syempre, safety first, may restrictions, so kailangan sumunod sa rules.
Mm-hmm. May question pa kayo, Chiqui?
Roxy, yung going into the pageant, no? Kasi kanina you mentioned all these amazing and intelligent women. So medyo aware ka na rin sa presence nila and their talents and what they were all about, no? When you were actually there, ikaw ba ay talagang nandyan pa rin yung confidence na I got this? Or tipong, oh my God, ang dami nilang magaganda, ang dami nilang magagaling. Parang medyo natatakot, ninenervous ako. What's it like?
Well, I'm feeling confidence because it's something I really worked hard for. I used to be very soft-spoken and I used to have no confidence at all and I was very awkward. But it's a process. And with the dedication that I had, nag-grow ko rin yung confidence for it. Grabe, to compete with 80, if I'm not mistaken, 83 other delegates is really hard to stand out since they are all amazing and grabe yung diverse beauty. So you really have to find a strategy to shine more on camera since this is virtual. And of course, bring your personality kasi the judges, you have to trust that the judges would judge you more than the backgrounds and the outfits that you wear. It's really what the girl is all about and the substance that you have. So, yun yung naging strategy ko. I just wanted to give myself talaga yung ako talaga and that did work well for me.
Wow. And of course, what can you say about yung mga co-candidates mo na nanalo, di ba? Na si Miss Venezuela, Miss Denmark, and syempre si Lindsay Coffey, ang ating Miss USA, first ever Miss Earth from the USA.
Oo, these wins come as a surprise to you or medyo in-expect mo na rin?
Yes, super deserving. I couldn't be happier to have this amazing elemental court. Pero we really couldn't expect kasi who's gonna win talaga. Like ako, hindi ko naman expect na mananalo ako kasi it was anyone's game, lalo nung top 20. Talagang kinikilabutan ako, kaya ba? Ang gagaling nung nakapasok. So it was anyone's game. I think it all went down talaga to the final Q&A na lang. And Lindsay Coffey, she slayed it. No doubt that's for her.
Wow, wow, wow. I mean, grabe. Inaantay na. Alam mo, ang galing lang no, na na-execute ng Miss Earth ito digitally. Actually, nung Miss Earth Philippines pa lang, everyone was really, especially yung mga pageant fans, was so anxious. What's gonna happen? How is it gonna happen? But now, eto, imagine mo, Miss Earth mismo, it was, everyone applauded it. So, congratulations to everyone involved. And sa'yo, for of course, mounting such a great group chat with all the ladies. Lahat kayo very calm and walang catty. Sorry, walang catty. Gaya ng
Cathy, gano'n.
Wala sa yun, di ba? I-highlight yun na talagang napakaganda ng camaraderie nila kahit online. Yun.
Roxy, what would be your message to everybody now as not just as Roxanne, no, but as Miss Earth Water 2020?
Yes, as Miss Earth Water, I want to remind everybody that I hope our global response to this pandemic is also the same response we have for climate change. A lot has happened more than the pandemic. There are other environmental degradations, such as the massive burning of areas holding a large amount of where the oxygen comes from. So it's said that by 2030, our actions are already irreversible. But we still have a shot. We have to learn to walk lightly on Earth if we still want our home to be habitable for the future. So I hope we embrace environmental responsibility. It's just as big as a problem. It's just a big problem, and we have to work in solidarity to be able to do that. And of course, maintain taking proper precautions since we are still fighting this global health pandemic. And sending love to everybody. Thank you for supporting the Miss Earth pageant and our Beauty for a Cause on its 20th year where we made history.
Thank you for the positivity.
Wow,
Thank you for the reminder. Yes,
I love that. Congratulations, Roxy. I hope na bonggang-bongga yung plano ng Cornerstone para sa'yo. Di ba, makita ka namin sa SNL, LOL, at iba pa, mga guesting ng susunod niyan.
So, maraming salamat.
Thank you so much.
Alright.
Miss Earth Water po yan. Ayan. Pero hindi pa tayo.
Oo.
Siyempre.
Wait lang, pagkausap ko nga sila, natutuwa ako kasi parang feeling ko nanonood ako ng Our Planet ulit. Alam mo yon sa Netflix. Yung parang we still have a chance. Yung mga ganon. That's just so naman talaga. Yes, block natin bukas si Miss Earth dito. Pero last night, nakausap ko na ang winner natin na si Lindsay Coffey. Nanalo siya in the comfort of her home in Pennsylvania. But of course, alam mo, unlike the others who joined twice or thrice before nailing a crown, she joined. This is her first time, and so lucky for Lindsay that that she already won it. And pag makausap mo siya, alam mo na kung bakit kung bakit siya nanalo. Very, very confident, she knows what she wants, and she wants to give a spotlight on water shortage, which 2 years ago, naranasan daw niya sa Africa. Kasi pre-pandemic, like everyone else, globetrotter itong si Lindsay Coffey. So, yun, nakita niya yan firsthand. And yung trip niya talaga daw noon before, she's a model actually. Pero when she travels, she's just really at one with nature. And when she learned about Miss Earth, and ang tawag niya dito, the Miss Earth system, sabi niya, it just works. And parang siyang match made in heaven para sa kanilang dalawa. And ang maganda kay Lindsay, sabi niya, she's not letting the pandemic stop her because she has heard of a lot of beauty queens who actually won, but didn't manage to execute their advocacies. But for her, it won't be a hindrance for her to really execute this. So eto, sabi ni Lindsay sa ating interview sa kanya.
Now more than ever, we need Miss Earth. We need this system to show us and to guide us on how to live really a better and a healthy lifestyle to secure our future and to live sustainably. So right now, more than ever, we need to focus on what our actions are to the environment. And through this pandemic, we've been able to see what we can accomplish through unity, and that unity is possible. So a lot of things about this pandemic working together and honestly putting one another before themselves, we can all do this with our environment as well. And the pandemic showed us what really the consequences of our actions were.
Totoo yan. Na-mention nga niya, no, na parang nakita niya rin yung silver lining ng pandemic na there are parts of the world which healed because of that, because of us not being able to travel a lot and nga to pollute the earth. May mga ganon, di ba? So bukas nakaka-excite na mga kwentuhan pa siya lalo. Dahil nga model siya, marami rin siyang chinika about showbiz. Pero sige, let us pivot in another topic. Napanood niyo ba yung ano natin? Nakita ko, Bok, yung exchange gift niyo ni Lourdes sa ating Christmas Station ID. Hindi mo ba actually pinanood ko bago tayo umere. Yes, pinalabas na ngayon. Well, ang ating they want us to mention it because it's a movement more than just a Christmas Station ID with all the stars na inaabangan ng mga showbiz fans. It is yung tuloy ang Pasko, because tuloy ang Pasko, we want everyone to just share, lalo na yung mga kapatid natin, how they will continue on and power through this holiday season given our new normal na 2020, diba? I mean, lahat tayo nasa extraordinary circumstances. So, wala na, nakakatuwa lang. If you wanna check it out, nasa TV5 Facebook page na po yan. Pinalabas kanina, Bok, Chiqui, and Ate Maricel sa frontline na newscast natin before the end of that. Yun siya. But anyway, eto naman pag-usapan natin. Gusto ko, dapat mag-comment ka dito. Gusto ko mag-comment. Gusto ko yung marinig yung mga comment ni Bok sa mga showbiz. Ay, Ella. Oo, diba? Alam mo siya.
Yun yung opinion.
Gusto ko yung opinion mo dito kasi ganito yon. Last week, naging sobrang hot topic sa social media dahil yung dating beauty queen na si Imelda Schweigert, sinabi niya na nawawala daw yung mga identity ng Pilipino dahil tinatangkilik natin yung K-pop. It's a global, kumbaga, we have been bitten by the bug of BTS, Dynamite, Blinks, diba? Because of Blackpink, what have you. And then, so, nag-viral yan. Nalagalit, syempre, ang mga milyong-milyong army, milyong-milyong Blinks. K-pop yun diba? And we are very much influenced by that. And alam mo, Ate Maricel, K-drama, lagi ang pinag-uusapan yan, diba? Yung mga catch-up. Ayan. Alright. And hindi na iiba sa atin yung mga celebrity and yung mga stars, okay? So, yung isa sa mga pinaka-recent na nakausap natin is Ella Cruz na nag-renew ng kanyang contract sa FIBA. Another 5 years for her, and she has been very much active on social media. Napakadami niyang fans dyan. And na-tap siya. Kung naalala niyo ba yung band na 21? Yung kasama si Sandara, di ba? Yung 21. Bak, tumingin ka naman pag sumasayaw ako. Joke lang. So, yun. So, 21. So, si Minzy, guess what? Si Minzy, yung Korean na bandmate din ni Sandara, which is of course, yes, napumirma siya sa FIBA kasi ng contract. And ang isa sa mga gusto niyang makapares na Filipino artist is Ella Cruz. Siyempre, kilig na kilig si Ella, di ba? Na ano ba ito? Talagang bridging the gap sa P-pop and K-pop. Pero, isa rin siya sa mga na-hurt na fans ng K-pop sa nasabi na bitiwang salita na yun ni Imelda Schweigert. So, ang sabi nga niya, Eto, panoorin nyo. Ayan yung soundbite niya.
Well, syempre, meron pa rin naman po tayong unique styles. I can say na I'm really influenced by K-pop, yung pananamit ko, yung ano ko. Pero syempre, meron pa rin yung uniqueness mo as your own, as your Philippine, as a being Filipino. Like, I saw that tweet, syempre. Parang nasa sarili mo na yun, paano ka i-influensyahan eh. Kasi syempre, hindi ka naman nila fully may influensya dahil yung puso mo Pilipino pa rin. At ako, bilang Pilipino po, at bilang isang artista, alam ko pa rin kung anong mamahalin ng mga kapwa kong Pilipino, especially yung mga fans ko na Pilipino. Na parang there's a bit of K-pop, pero syempre iba pa rin yung mga Pilipino.
True. O, diba? Alam po, iba pa rin yung taste natin, tsaka pag tayo mismo yung naglabas ng ganong klase. So, ayun siya. Yung
pananamit ba niya ngayon, pati pananamit ay K-pop na? Kasi, I mean, it's like, tayo, di ba, sometimes we speak in English. So, parang nawawala ba yung identity natin dahil doon? Bumibili tayo ng foreign brands, nawawala ba? We like foreign music, foreign movies, nawawala ba? Parang, hindi naman siguro.
I think we are in a fusion right now because we're very globalized anyway. And to begin with, and yan, kung makikita mo, di ba, si Ella, very much, sinabi nga niya, pati forma niya, influence, kung makikita niyo din naman, no, kung nanonood kayo show, Sunday show, yung mga production number, di ba, laging, ano bang number 1 ngayon? BTS, ay di sinasayaw nila yung BTS. Ang ginagawa lang naman nila ay mag-entertain at pasayahin yung fans na nothing more to it than that, just to consume it and be happy about it. So, yun.
Globalization na, yan yung word.
At saka maganda yung fashion.
Sige po.
Ano yung haseyo?
Bok, nanonood ka ba ng K-drama? Nanonood ka ba ng K-drama?
Ilan lang.
Totoo.
Yung totoo!
Ano yung falling down on you ba yun? Ano yun?
Crash landing on you! Crash landing! Korea sa
Michael Douglas falling.
May mga ano, di ba? May mga vlogger ng North Korea na na sinabi nila kung ano yung factual at hindi. And yung Chloe was one of the best K-dramas for this year because maganda yung pagka-depict nila sa totoong sitwasyon ng militar at mga tao sa North Korea, di ba? Parang honestly, they're very mysterious but because of that show, napastok nga ako. Pinanood ko paano ba makapunta ng North Korea mula sa yung mga ganun, mula China, yung mga magte-trend ka. So wala lang. I mean, it opens so much topics and it opens so much information for everybody, not just the typical rom-com cookie cutter that we get to watch.
Correct. And aside from the fact na ang poking talaga ni Yoongi.
Yun na yun! Diba? Yes, there's nothing more to it than that. O, diba? Bakit ba? I mean, let us all do what will make us happy. I mean, 2020, hello!
Ang ano ko lang dun, yung halos lahat ng napapanood ko ng mga, I haven't really watched a lot, no? Pero halos lahat ng napapanood ko ng mga Korean shows, yung babae, pare-pareho yung tono.
Kaya talaga yung tono nila eh.
Bok, if may TikTok ka, pag nakita mo yung mga Pilipinong nagkukunwaring nagko-Korean, it's very entertaining. Pero hindi sila nagko-Korean, ginagaya lang nila yung intonation.
Tapos yung mga lalaki sa mga show, yung mga lalaki parating na Korean, parang FPG parating dating.
Wait lang, alam mo, dapat meron tayong suggestion for Bok na panoorin na Korean series. I feel like you love Vagabond. It's political action.
Parang yung lalaki parating si FPJ, yung babae parang parating si Maricel Soriano, parang
hindi ko na
generation.
Mag-backtrack lang po ako. Sorry!
Ayan, 57 na po. Yung producers natin, nire-remind na tayo.
What next ako? Grabe kayo,
Ayan. MJ, as usual, fun having you here. Ayan po ang aming kapitan sa chikahan na si MJ Marfori. Korean novela.
So nanonood din si Bok ng K-drama.
Sabi nga sa iyo. Anyong haseyo.
Annyeonghaseyo.
Talo pa ako ni Bok.
Ikaw, tagal mo nakakulong sa bahay tapos hindi ka nanonood ng kahit ano.
Hindi eh,
Wala
iba eh.
kayo.
At tinapos ko yung The Crown. Tapos na ako doon. Yan. Galing. Mukhang hindi kayo nanonood. Pero yung sinasabi ni MJ kanina na yung ano, at saka ni Edo yung mga accents, feeling ko yung foreigners din, pag nakikinig sa atin, ganun. Kasi may nagsabi sa akin dati na foreigner na parang we're whining all the time. Hindi naman parang puro whining daw. Oh. Ayan, kota na tayo.
Okay. Sige, kota na tayo sa balita. Kumota naman tayo sa mga quotes. Corny, ha? Okay, sa pagdiriwang ng araw ng kapanganakan ni Andres Bonifacio, muli nating sariwain kung para saan nga ba ang ipinaglaban ng ating mga bayani. Alam naman natin na kung hindi dahil sa kanila, hindi natin mararanasan ang kalayaang ating natatamasa sa ating kasalukuyan.
Kaya naman, wag nating sayangin ang sakripisyo di lamang ni Bonifacio, kundi ng iba pang bayaning ipinaglaban ng ating bansa sa anumang larangan. Sa simpleng paraan, gaya ng pagtangkilik sa sariling atin, pagrespeto sa batas at hindi pagpapakalat ng fake news, maipapakita na rin natin ang ating pagkamakabayan.
Sa araw na ito at maging sa ating buong buhay, naway sundin natin ang sabi nga ni Gat Andres Bonifacio. Ibigin mo ang iyong bayan ng sunod kay Bathala sa iyong kapurihan at higit sa lahat sa iyong sarili. Ultimate selflessness. Grabe. Oh, mga kapatid, 25 days na lang at Pasko na. Merry Christmas! Wow.
Tagal ko yun, ha?
December na bukas.
Wala pa akong Christmas tree.
may excuse man tayo eh. May pandemya eh. Hindi tayo pwedeng, we cannot see each other, diba? Sige.
Padala na
Hanggang
lang.
sa muli, humahalili lang para kay Joey Francisco. Ako po si Edrica.
Ako naman po si Chiqui Vergel.
At umahalili po para kay Marga Vargas. Ako po si Maricel Halili.
Huwag na huwag magpalinlang. Dito tayo sa Totoo Lang.
Kami ang boses ng pinagkakaisang Pilipinas. 1PH.